Hi artists, my name is Kara Snorell and I'm one of the teen instructors for this summer's Laumeier Art Camp. I'm going to be sharing a example of how to make a neighborhood encouragement banner using hand block lettering technique. I know supplies are limited, so find what you have at home, and this project can be as intricate or as simple as you want it to be. During quarantine, I've been taking lots of walks just to stay healthy and kind of distract myself and get outside, and I have been seeing the coolest art in my neighbors' houses. I've been seeing kids do drawings that they tape to their windows or their doors. I've been seeing amazing chalk drawings and messages and song lyrics on the sidewalks. A family down the street also took wood and made this giant cutout of a strong man, and they painted it to say, "Stay strong, STL." So people have been going crazy with the whole decorate and encourage thing. So really, this could be as simple or as crazy as you want it to be. For this example, I'm going to be using one word. My word is courage, and I'm going to be using an 11-inch by 28-inch piece of poster board. I made this example ahead of time just to kind of show you what I'm talking about. We're going to be doing hand lettering, and the process involves being exact with measurements. So we are going to be needing a straight edge or a ruler. It's going to be important to have something to make those measurements accurate. You could also use the edge of a book or the edge of a cardboard box to get those straight lines. For the life of me, I could not find one pencil that had both a point and an eraser. So I'm going to be using two pencils for this example. I also don't have a sharpener at home, go figure. Oh well. So I'm going to be using two pencils. Hopefully you have one that has a point and an eraser on the same pencil, but oh well. I'm going to be using a Sharpie for my dark edges around my pencil. Again, if you don't have a Sharpie, you could use markers. We have tons of these toilet paper rolls at home, so you could go crazy with these. You could make these into letters, designs. You could cut them up into fun shapes. If you don't have poster board, if you do not have poster board, you can use cardboard boxes. You could use computer paper. You could use leftover scrapbook paper. I have tons of extra pieces of scrapbook paper laying around from projects that I never finished. You could use gift bags from stores. You could even use a paper bag. And on the inside of most paper bags, you're gonna see a nice empty canvas for you. And that would be a great surface to do your lettering on. The most important thing for this project is that you have some sort of straight edge that you can make measurements with. So I think we're ready to get started. I'm gonna go ahead and switch my camera around so you can see what I'm working on, and let's get going.
I've sped up the process of measuring out the letters on this poster board. Um, I've gone ahead and drawn 3 lines horizontally across my poster board. I've decided I want my letters to be about 6 inches tall and 3 inches wide. And the reason for this is I want this sign to be as visible as possible from the street. So I've gotten 3 guidelines, and these are going to be the guidelines to help me know how wide and how tall my letters need to be and how to evenly space them. So off to the left side, I've made a mark at the 2.5-inch mark, the 5.5-inch mark, and the 8.5-inch mark. And I've done so on both sides, and I've connected those lines using a really long, I didn't have a yardstick, so I used the edge of a book to draw those 3 horizontal lines. Now what you see me doing is I am marking an inch from both sides. That's going to be the little space before my letters start. So I'm going to have an inch margin on the front and the back of my courage. So I've gone ahead and gone from the left side and done a dot at the 1-inch mark on all 3 lines. Now I'm going over to the end of the courage banner, and I'm going to do those 1-inch marks on the back end of the letters so that my E stops an inch from the edge of the poster board. And I'm drawing that line, again, I'm drawing very lightly because I don't want it to be too visible. This is just a guideline to help me know how thick and how tall my letters need to be. Now I'm going ahead and taking my ruler, I'm making sure that my lines are straight, and I'm marking a 3-inch mark from that first dot. I'm making a 3-inch mark because I want my letters to be 3 inches thick, 3 inches wide. So I'm doing a dot on all 3 guidelines, and I'm connecting them to make a rectangle that my C letter is going to go inside of. Now I'm wanting to make a space between the C and the O, and I want the space between my letters to be equal because I don't want this to look like I just sort of threw together. I'm trying to really be careful. So I'm going to the 3/4 of an inch mark on the ruler. I'm holding that up to the camera so you can see it. And I'm going ahead and I'm marking again on that top, middle, and bottom guideline. I'm marking the 3/4 of an inch mark. And guess what? I'm going to connect all 3 dots with a line, and that's going to mark the start of my O. Now if you look carefully, you'll see that I have a rectangle for my C, a very skinny rectangle which is representing the space between the C and the O, and then I'm getting ready to start my O block. And I'm going to go ahead, take my ruler again, go to the 3-inch mark and mark that on all 3 lines. I've gone ahead and sped up the rest of this letter spacing so that you can just see me filling in the rest of the letters. I've got a 3/4 of an inch space between each letter and they're 3 inches wide. Now that I've drawn my letter guide boxes 3 inches wide, I'm drawing a mid mark inside of each of my letter boxes. For each letter, I'm going to have a midpoint that's going to help me know how tall and how centered my letters are going to be when I start drawing them. So what I'm doing in this part of the video is I've measured 1.5 inches from the start of my letter box and made a dot on the top guideline and the bottom guideline and connected them, just like I did with the letter boxes. And this will be my mid mark to help me see where the center of my letters should go. I'm ready to start drawing out my letters. I am a little bit more of a freehander when it comes to this kind of stuff. If you wanted to be extra particular, you could find something with a rounded edge and trace that curve to get that nice round edge for C's or E's or O's or letters that have a curve to them. I am kind of freehanding it. Again, the important part here is that I'm using my pencil and I'm drawing pretty lightly so that I can erase this later, but I'm using the midpoint that I just drew, that center dot, to help me decide how tall my O is. I've gone ahead and started with the curve and gone up to the midpoint, and that's how tall I knew I wanted my letter to go before I started curving it back down to the side. So I'm using all of these guidelines to help me make these letters. I'm not freehanding it completely. These guidelines that we just took so long to measure out are helping me get pretty exact measurements for my letters. Now that I've finished drawing out the letters in pencil, I'm ready to go over this with Sharpie. If you don't have Sharpie, you can use markers or whatever materials you have available. Just be careful because once you have that heavier marker on there, you can't go back.
Now that we're done with our letters and we've outlined them with a darker marker or Sharpie, we are ready to decorate. And again, think about what you have at home. I used markers in my demo because that was what I had at home. I also had a piece of tissue paper from gift wrapping that I cut out my O and I stuck that tissue paper behind it so that when it's up to the window, and you can't really tell from this angle, the light's gonna come through and kind of shine through on the back. So we'll kind of see the letters from our side of the window as well as from the other side of the window. So you really could go crazy. Maybe you draw inside the letters and you do little drawings, or maybe you forget the letters completely and you do a design in the background and leave the letters white. Up to you. Whatever you do, we would love to see what you guys make. Take a photo of what you finish and tag us, Laumeier St. Louis. Share with us. We'd love to see the encouragement that you're passing around. And don't forget to sign up for this summer's art camp. We would love to make with you this summer. Take care and stay healthy, St. Louis.